The entire precinct froze. Bradley's face drained of color. Naomi's voice thundered. You brutalized a man of peace in front of the world without cause. You didn't arrest a criminal. You attacked an example. Reporters outside caught wind instantly. The story flipped from riot arrest to racial assault scandal. The cameras poured in. Bradley's name went viral for all the wrong reasons. Sweat rolled down his temples as Naomi demanded her father's release. Trembling, Bradley unlocked the cuffs. Elijah rolled slowly, rubbing his wrists, eyes filled not with hate, but heartbreak. Mercy, he said, looking Bradley in the eye, is not weakness, but justice. Justice must still be served. The chief of police burst in, pale with panic. Bradley, you just started a fire this department can't put out. Do you have any idea who you touched? Outside, chants thundered. Justice for Elijah! Justice for all! Naomi leaned close. Your badge won't save you now. The law will come for you the way you came for him. For the first time, Bradley's arrogance cracked. Fear settled where pride once lived. Days later, the courtroom overflowed, every seat filled. Reporters, activists, families. Bradley sat at the defendant's table, head bowed. Across the room stood Elijah, tall, composed, unbroken. I forgive him, he said gently to the jury. But forgiveness doesn't erase accountability. Justice must still be served. Naomi presented evidence with precision. The video footage, eyewitness reports, and years of buried complaints. One by one, Bradley's allies abandoned him. The city turned its back. When the verdict came, the words echoed through the hall like a drumbeat. Guilty on all counts: assault, misconduct, abuse of power. Bradley's eyes welled up. He turned to Elijah, trembling. Please, please tell them I'm not a monster. Please have mercy. Elijah looked at him, sorrow in his gaze. Mercy comes from God. Justice comes from men. Today, you face both. As Bradley was led away in cuffs, the same cuffs he had once used to shame others, the crowd outside erupted in cheers. Not cheers of vengeance, but victory. Elijah stepped into the sunlight, Naomi beside him. The crowd's voices rose higher, echoing across the city. Truth always rises, justice always wins. And in that golden moment, one truth became undeniable. Power built on hate crumbles, but power rooted in truth endures forever. The sun burned high over Jefferson Square, flooding the streets of Chicago with heat and noise. Hundreds had gathered for the Voices of Unity rally. Banners waved in the breeze. Choirs filled the air with gospel hymns that climbed into the sky like prayers. At the center of it all stood Pastor Elijah Carter, a tall, soft-spoken man in his 50s wearing his signature dark suit and silver cross. His voice carried power wrapped in calm. He spoke not like a politician, but like a father. Love, he said, his hand rising toward the crowd, is stronger than fear. And truth, he paused as cheers erupted, truth cannot be buried forever. Near the front, a young protester leaned in, whispering urgently, Pastor Elijah, word is the police are watching closely today. Some officers don't want this rally to continue. Elijah smiled gently. That's why we must stand taller. Love is our weapon. Truth is our shield. But on the edge of the square, hidden behind dark sunglasses and a clenched jaw, Officer Bradley Harlon watched with contempt. Known for his short temper and racial bias, Bradley's presence sent unease through the crowd. This man thinks he's some kind of hero. Let's see how heroic he looks in handcuffs." Minutes later, as Elijah bowed his head to lead the people in prayer, Bradley pushed through the sea of onlookers, hand already on his weapon. Without warning, he grabbed Elijah by the arm and slammed him to the ground. "You're under arrest for inciting violence," he shouted, pressing his knee into Elijah's back. "Violence?" he coughed. "We've done nothing but sing and pray." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Children cried. Mothers screamed. Dozens of cell phones lifted into the air, capturing every second. But Bradley didn't care. He yanked the pastor to his feet, snapped cold cuffs around his wrists, and shouted for all to hear, "This is what happens when you people step out of line." The crowd roared with outrage. "Let him go!" someone screamed. But Elijah only looked back at them, his face bruised but calm. "Do not lose faith," he said softly. "The truth always rises." As the police car door slammed shut, silence fell, the kind that burns before a storm. Inside the precinct, Pastor Elijah sat on a cold metal chair. The air smelled of coffee, sweat, and authority. His wrists were raw from the cuffs. Bradley circled him like a wolf, his arrogance filling the room. "You think you can stir up crowds and embarrass the city," he barked. "Not on my watch. What you call stirring up, I call lifting up. What you call chaos, I call community." Bradley slammed his fist on the table. "Save the sermons. You're going to spend a long time behind bars." Outside, the world was already burning. News of the arrest had spread across social media like wildfire. Within hours, footage of the assault trended nationwide. Hashtags filled the screen. Hashtag justice for Elijah. Hashtag love not hate. Hashtag racism exposed. Protesters surrounded the station by sunset. Reporters demanded answers. The mayor's office was flooded with calls. But Bradley felt untouchable. "They won't touch me," he bragged to another officer. "I did my job. They'll thank me later." Still, cracks began to form. A young officer nearby whispered to himself, "He looks more like the criminal than the pastor." And then the door opened. A woman stepped in wearing a tailored navy suit and heels that clicked with authority. Her presence commanded the room. Before she even spoke, "Who are you?" Bradley snapped. She handed him her ID, her voice sharp and calm. "Attorney General Naomi Carter. And the man you just assaulted, he's my father."